What's going on, everybody? In today's video, I'm going to be covering my strategy, my personal thoughts on how I'm going to handle my portfolio moving forward in all of this chaos. Some people right now are still convinced that we are in a bull market, myself included, but others are believing that the bear market is here. And while I would like to tell you the bull market is still on, I always have plans and strategies in place in case I am wrong. So in the video today, I'm going to tell you how I would handle a bear market movement right now and how I'm handling for either direction, either bullish or bearish overall in the next couple of months. So make sure to watch this video all the way until the end. We're going to cover some news stories. I'm going to cover some interesting altcoins that seem to be doing a little bit different movements right now than the rest of the space. And I'm also going to just tell you overall my thoughts on the markets and how I plan to handle my portfolio. So make sure to smash that like button if this video is helpful and make sure you are subscribed to the channel. All right, let's go. Really quickly, before we get into the content, I want to make sure everyone here watching knows that this is a time period you absolutely can be making money. Even if your spot bags have taken a big dip recently, you can make money trading these markets right now. You need to be responsible and you need to be safe, but this is something that we take seriously every single day. Yes, my long-term portfolio is down right now, but I have made so much money over the last couple of weeks trading these volatile movements, having long positions, having short positions, and I'm putting all those trades over into my VIP trading group where you can check that out right now. You also will see a lot of daily live shows where we do live trading, tell you where we're buying and selling, but also tell you why we're buying and selling. We have educational content. And by the way, as you're going to see later in this video, we have an indicator that comes for free with every single VIP trader set up in our Discord. So make sure if you want to start making money, no matter whether markets go up or down, go check out the Tim Warren VIP trading group today. Let's get into the content here and talk about what the future is going to look like. We got a pretty good little bounce here yesterday on Bitcoin. You can see when pulling up our indicators that I mentioned here just a second ago, we did hit a pretty good level of support just last night that we've mentioned based on this indicator for a while. If you were in our VIP trading group, you knew that this level down here between 106,800 and 105,600 was a nice, big, juicy order block on the daily chart. And sure enough, we have a nice little bounce. With buy signals that we got on both the 1 hour and the 4 hour chart, you can see the 1 hour is testing some big resistance at the moment, which means we could see a little bit of a pullback happen at these levels around 110,000. But the 4 hour chart suggests there is a possibility of a fair value gap and the smart trail resistance being tested back up at $113,000. But the problem is right now you still see the markets downtrending downwards, and you can't necessarily declare a bull run is back on probably until we confidently break back above 116,000 with some candle closes on the daily chart above that level. We probably also need to see some volume come in confirming that the bulls are back. Something I also think that's a little concerning, I mentioned this last night on X, is that the Bitcoin Fear and Greed Index this morning is not anywhere near as low as you think it would be. It's sitting at 29. Now, while that technically is in the fear, based off of the comment section on yesterday's video and comments over on X over the last week, you would think this indicator would be down towards 5. I posted this on X, so make sure you go follow me over there so you see my thoughts throughout the day. But in a nutshell, this could be one of two things for the markets right now. Number one, it could mean that the bottom is not in and we have further to go to the downside. More often than not, this fear and greed index can be used by buying when you see extreme fear and selling when you see extreme greed. Jumping down below or close to 10 points on the fear and greed index, in my opinion, is a perfect buy spot. But with this only being at 29, there's a chance what the markets are telling us is as bad as this week has been, it could get a little lower. We've told people now for a while there are no guarantees, and again, we're bouncing off of a key order block at the moment, there is a weekly sell signal that historically makes its way down towards the smart trail support level. In this case, we're talking about a $98,700 Bitcoin at least if that sell signal ends up triggering correctly. So this is something you have to be aware with our fear and greed not necessarily being an extreme fear and a potential weekly sell signal saying we could drop close to or below $100,000. We're not quite out of the woods just yet. However, the other option is that at the moment, there really are no more weak hands left in the market. All the negative comments we're seeing right now on X or on YouTube comments, possibly are they coming from people who have already sold and have no more negative pressure left on the markets? Or potentially, are we seeing just a bunch of trolls happening where people who are just like me have no intentions to sell whatsoever, but they like to cause havoc. They like to post negativity on the internet. In a nutshell, though, we're not really seeing a lot of outflows of selling from Bitcoin and other cryptos. So you might be saying, Tim, why then is the price dropping? Ultimately, what we're watching happen right now is a bunch of leverage positions, over leverage positions, get liquidated from people who are just a little bit too greedy, holding on to high margin trades for too long. They're getting destroyed. However, when you look at the Bitcoin chart, you're going to notice here, even dating back to August, that we cannot close a weekly candle below $108,000. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different candles on the weekly chart have wicks that drop below that level, but we always find a way to bounce back up. What this is telling me, once again, is that people are over leveraging. They're getting a little too cocky, thinking the bottom is in, and going on these big leverage trades, and we just keep liquidating those people, but ultimately, we keep bouncing back up. The reality is, when you zoom out and you look at the charts, you would think that Bitcoin was about to hit a brand new low, and yet this chart is extremely bullish. Bitcoin has only fallen 12% here over the last couple of weeks, which is not a big deal at all. But the market makes you feel like it's dropped 80% in the last week. Even when you look at coins like Ethereum right now, it really is not a bad looking weekly chart. In fact, inside of a bull flag pattern that we have drawn now for a couple of weeks, we're continuing to maintain some key support. That bull flag, which could break out with Ethereum driving all the way up to $8,600, is still very much in play. ETH is only down 22% from those highs. And while that's almost double what Bitcoin is, in the grand scheme of things, when it comes to altcoins and Ethereum, 22% is not a very big deal in the volatility that crypto normally has. Now, other altcoins are having some bad weeks here. Take, for example, coins like XRP or Chainlink or Ondo or Cardano. These are all coins that are pretty significantly down from even their market cycle highs in this current bull run. One of the reasons I think that is because at the moment, the majority of the ETFs are only for Bitcoin and Ethereum. Let me walk you through this kind of thought process. This is a tweet that we just put out earlier today from an analyst called Leon Wademan saying that the upcoming altcoin ETFs would have an open door for the next wave of institutional buying. ETH spot ETFs drew $9.6 billion in quarter three, topping even Bitcoin's $8.7 billion. He's quoted as saying altcoin ETF inflows are the inevitable next step after Bitcoin and Ethereum ETFs proved institutional demand. Institutions found Bitcoin via ETFs. Now they're moving into Ethereum, and other altcoins are coming next. You've seen the headlines with a plethora of different altcoins that have ETFs coming in the next couple of months. I'm not going to go through all those details in this video, but it is something we've covered before, and maybe we'll cover next week on one of our live shows. In a nutshell, though, what did I just tell you? The altcoin space overall, it's not necessarily been performing over the last couple of weeks the way you want it to. But what about the two coins that actually have ETFs, Bitcoin and Ethereum? They're holding up pretty well compared to the rest of the crypto space. Why? Because while retail is freaking out and selling all of their cryptocurrencies right now when it comes to the altcoin space, institutions that are actually driving this markets that are heavily invested in mostly just Bitcoin and Ethereum via ETFs, they have shown to hold up quite nicely. This goes on to prove what we've been saying for quite some time. This is not the bull market of retail adoption. That happened long ago. Retail no longer controls the boat. This is the bull market of institutional adoption. And this further emphasizes that when these ETFs come out for these altcoins, it could be a massive boom for those coins. Maybe your favorite meme coin or coin rank number 572 doesn't have a massive explosion anytime soon. But when I talk about altcoin season coming, I've always talked about the blue chips. I've always told people, look for the coins that institutions seem interested in. Don't just go for the coin that some person on X or YouTube tells you could have a 25X in a month. Now, I know a lot of you guys are sitting here saying, Tim, how are you going to handle your portfolio? I'm going to get to that in just a minute, but there's one more story that I want to cover as to why I still believe bullish movement is coming down the road. We've said for a long time now that liquidity coming into the markets is essential for crypto to boom. And people have been paying attention to things like M2 money supply that has been going off the charts and saying, why is M2 money supply going high, but crypto is lagging behind? Well, the fact is, even though M2 is up, liquidity maybe not so much, but could be coming very soon. So there's an interesting post that we found the other day from London Crypto Club where he's talking about the problems with liquidity based on the government shutdown. I want to read you what this tweet says and then break it down so you understand what this means for the future. With the government shutdown, the TGA is not getting spent, so it's building as receipts are received and debts issued. The latest opening balance stands at $965 billion, a build of circulation of $150 billion in October. That's cash coming out of the market, right? So instead of money coming in, we actually have cash coming out. On top of that, into the month end, the RRP is building as banks window dress balance sheets. The RRP is up circulation $20 billion so far this week. That's all liquidity being taken out of this market. Right? So that's less money that can be spent. It's money coming out. Add that to the fact that the bank reserves have fallen into lower range of ample. This is creating some tightness in bank funding markets witnessed by elevated SOFR spreads and rising usage of the Fed's standing repo facility. Yesterday, eligible firms took over $10 billion on loans from the SRF, a record since its introduction in 2021. While this is not extreme stress, it is tightening. This is why Bitcoin, given it's hypersensitive to liquidity, is failing to break out of its choppy range. In a nutshell, you can say both Bitcoin and the rest of the crypto markets. Stocks have been climbing. Gold was climbing, but Bitcoin and crypto staying back. Why? Because there wasn't liquidity coming to buy it. So now the question, as he says here, what changes? Obviously, after the month end, the RRP will be drawn back down and return to that circulation $20 billion into the market. Bank reserves will be more freely lent out to. Some tightness will remain until the end of QT that the Fed announced for December 1st. But once that ends, we start to get Fed balance sheets expansion once more after a few years of contraction. The government shutdown ending, probably mid-November, will get to see the TGA drawn down, unleashing a flood of cash back into the market, which will see bank reserves rise, alleviating the moderate funding stress. So the liquidity picture is set to change quite significantly over the coming weeks. This week into the month end is probably as tight as US-based liquidity gets until at least the end of year. Liquidity headwinds will ease after this week's alleviating the pressure on Bitcoin. And then towards the end of November and into the end of QT on December 1st, liquidity becomes a tailwind and we really start to pump. I wanted to read you the details, but let me wrap it in a nutshell for anybody who wasn't necessarily tracking what that information means. It means that even though M2 keeps going up, banks don't have money to lend out. Liquidity has been really low. But with the end of QT coming here in just about a month, we should see a massive explosion of liquidity into the markets, and that will cause a lot of pressure to come back into risk on assets like cryptocurrency. Now, I'm not predicting that every single altcoin hits a new all-time high by the end of the year. I've been pretty adamant over the last couple of weeks that I do think that there's going to be some struggles through the rest of the year, and then Q1 could be a very, very bullish momentum. But do not underestimate, even though we're not technically moving into quantitative easing just yet, the end of quantitative tightening will bring liquidity back into the markets. But then just wait until March when there's a new Fed chairman. I do believe QE is not that far away, and that's when the real moon madness begins for altcoins. However, I could be wrong about all of this, and that is why I have a strategy for how I want to handle the markets moving forward. While I remain very bullish about cryptocurrency long term, while I think that we're still going to make a whole lot of money in the next year, I want to make sure I'm protecting myself against anything that could happen to the downside in case the bear market does happen. The first things first, no matter which direction we go, I am not selling my cryptocurrency right now. Even though the majority of my holdings are in profit because I've been holding for a very long time, it is nowhere close to something significant to me to take that money out of the markets. I also do seriously think that we're sitting in a spot right now we could bounce any day now. So I don't want to be the guy who sells at the bottom of a move. However, I probably am going to start pausing on investing any new capital into the space right now. I'm not going to just sit on an exchange and build up some fees holding some USDC, waiting for the next opportunity to buy some more crypto. The next time I will be buying crypto will be when I see a confirmed weekly buy signal. This indicator that we have created in the last couple of weeks that all of our VIP traders get for free has been immaculate at telling people when to buy and when to sell. I wish we had created a little bit sooner. But you can see anytime that we have some form of a green reversal or bullish divergence, a green momentum dot and positive money flow, this has been an amazing time to buy crypto. For example, back here in April, back here in July of 2024, back here in September of 2023. All of those times have been amazing bottom signals that Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies ripped to the upside after getting those buy signals. To the flip side, the sell signals work just as well. Whenever you have red reversals or bearish divergence mixed with gray momentum dots and negative money flow, times like July 8th of this year, times like December or January of 2025, or even times like March of 2024, where we get these sell signals, it was the perfect time to take profit on cryptocurrency. So what this means is right now, whether the bottom is in or not, the next time I deploy capital into the space, I want to see a weekly buy signal on this indicator. But moving forward, because I do think we're now officially in the institutional bull markets where chaos will erupt even more, I do plan on changing my take profit strategy. Rather than just waiting for massive moon pumps in the future, anytime I see that weekly sell signal, I will be taking profit on my shorter term bags. What do you mean by shorter term bags, Tim? Well, there's a certain portion of my portfolio that I have no intention to take profit anytime soon. This is cryptocurrency that I believe in for the long haul, that I'm going to hold for retirement and passing down to my children for generational wealth. However, I absolutely am going to have a portion that I'm going to be more swing trading with spot trades where I take profit every single time I see a weekly sell signal and I buy every single time I see a weekly buy signal. Using this indicator that we created for our group, when you scale this back and look over the last couple of years, it has been borderline perfect examples of when to buy and when to sell. Now, I don't want to promise any guarantees because there's nothing 100% in the world of trading or investing, but you're always looking for the highest probabilities. And this indicator right now is giving me more than a 90% win rate on not only these long-term trades, but even right now, I told you earlier in the video, I've been winning some trades over the last couple of weeks, making some money despite crypto pulling back. It's because of this superpowered indicator that is telling me when to long and when to short these markets. If you want to learn how to use this indicator, once again, go join that VIP trading group. We have lots of people in there, lots of pro traders every single day, teaching people how to trade and teaching people what to look for on the charts to know when to buy and when to sell. Now, really quickly, before we go, make sure you smash that like and hit subscribe. There are 3 altcoins that I think are very interesting right now that seem to have not been affected at all by recent negativity. And there's a good reason for that. Remember earlier when we said the ETFs are going to be super important for cryptocurrency? Well, HBAR is a coin that's had a lot of ETF conversation here more recently. And you can see it's been almost nothing but up straight movement since October 24th. While other cryptocurrencies saw a lot of volatility, HBAR was roaring to the upside. Now, we did reject on some resistance right here, but with this increased volume coming in, I do believe this is a sign that HBAR is a coin that the institutions are absolutely falling in love with. It's one that I happily already have in my portfolio, but I would encourage others out there, if you don't have it, look for good opportunities to get into it moving forward. The ETFs are coming. Another coin with a big breakout that we actually talked about earlier this week is BitTensor that just gets better news and better news. And it's also one of the biggest benefactors in the crypto space of the AI boom that's happening. And right now we are confirming a breakout as I'm making this video that once again, if this bull flag pattern ends up playing out, we could see this coin rip all the way up to $730 per coin. You don't want to miss out on BitTensor. This is my personal pick for the crypto AI space. The third and final coin that does not seem to be affected at all by any negativity is AERO. This coin is benefiting a lot right now from heavy trades because, as we told you in content past, with Base not being an official coin, Base, of course, attached to Coinbase, the #1 layer 2 solution to Ethereum, the biggest benefactor is AERO, and AERO has been ripping since October 22nd. And you can see right here, we've been tracking a falling channel on AERO that when it breaks out, we predicted would have a big rally all the way up here towards $1.35. Well, right now, as we're back above $1 on AERO, this looks like the breakout pattern happening for that one. And I don't think this is going to end anytime soon, as Ethereum still has some big moves coming. watch AERO be one of the biggest benefactors of the big boom of Ethereum. Of course, there's a lot of other altcoins out there that are doing some cool things, but of all the top ones that have institutional interest, right now, these three are some of my favorites to be invested in and look for those trade opportunities. As we wrap up this video, nobody knows what the future looks like, but I'm telling you, based on what the charts are saying and what the news is saying, I continue to be bullish. The comments might not be bullish, X might not be bullish, but I'll tell you right now, some of my best takes in the past were when everyone on the internet disagreed with my statements. When everyone else gets bearish, that's oftentimes the best time to be buying crypto assets. If you want to know when I'm buying and selling what particular altcoins, well, I will talk about it from time to time here on YouTube. I do save this information for our VIP members that are with me every single day doing these trades. So make sure, once again, go check out that group, go get that free indicator, get your education going, and learn how to make money no matter what the markets do. Smash like, hit subscribe. I'll see you in the next one. Adios.